Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm your host, Jim McDannald. Joined as always by my trusty co-host, Tyson Franklin. Tyson, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic today. Big Jim, once again, feeling great that I'm trusty. So,
The most trustworthy podcast co-host I've ever had. So,
yeah,
and the only
yeah,
one.
and you've had so many. So, yeah, I'm up there. I'm in the top 10 at least of
Yeah,
trustworthy podcast hosts. Oh my. How's the weather in your part of the world?
it's getting cold in Canada. What can I say? It's that time of year where we're getting into the winter months. So, gotta bundle up, bunker down, and just ride out another Canadian winter. So,
Yeah, it's but you love the cold weather, don't you?
I
Do you
get
have, do
used
you
to
have
it
a
a little.
preference? Do you have a preference, summer or winter?
I mean, if it could be like 65 and sunny every day, or like that'd be like 15 to 20 degrees and sunny every day, I'd take that. But
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? It makes you appreciate the warm spring days and the warm summer days and the fall days a little bit more when you have to deal with cold and snow and such, I think.
Yeah, but I reckon the same thing in Cairns. Like when we're in the middle of summer, when it's just stinking hot, high 30s, humidity is through the roof. Yeah, it's not pleasant. But when you're leading into summer, when it's warm and it's warm enough to be in the pool every single day, but it's not stinking hot, is probably the best time of the year. So anyway, that's our weather report for everyone for this episode. We should get on to today's topic, which is 7 simplistic ways to get more bums in your practice, or bums on the seats in your practice. And the reason I brought this one up is there's going to be a few things that I'm going to run through that we have covered before. So when I get to that, Jim, I'm going to get some of your input, especially with some of the Google information. But here's the thing, it doesn't always take fancy marketing or expensive ads to get people into your clinic. Sometimes it's the simple things that are just done consistently, and we spoke about consistency last week, that make the biggest difference. So today I'm going to be sharing 7 simplistic ways to attract more patients, strategies that will cost little to nothing, but can have a massive impact to actually put into action. So
I like it. I think it's good to kind of go back over those things and just reiterate the importance of some of these different channels and some of these different opportunities, because I think a lot of clinics are looking for more patients or more specific types of patients. And if we can deliver that for them in this podcast and then in real life, everybody benefits.
yeah, and we could have called this the consistency marketing podcast, because the amount of times that we say that on our episodes, other than we say we're both really good at what we do, but we also say consistency is a key with nearly everything. So the first thing I want to talk about, tip number 1, is own your Google business profile. And people might be going, well, why is this so crucial? Is most people will be searching locally before booking. Think when you're looking for a hotel, when you're thinking of a restaurant, we all will go and look at the business profile. We went on a urban cocktail trail in Cairns. It's where you can go through and check out all these different places. And when we're doing that, we're given 5 tickets to go and get cocktails, but there were 7 different venues that you could use in that. We went and checked out all 7 venues first before we chose which 5 we were going to use. So everybody does this thing. And if we all do it with hotels, restaurants, bars, then people are doing it with podiatry businesses. So you need to own your Google business profile, and it needs to have recent photos. You need to have the correct hours. You need to be regularly putting posts. If there's a public holiday or a group of holidays in your area, say whether you're going to be open or closed. It's really not that hard to do. And even within that Google thing where they'll have reviews, when you're talking with your patients, if you ask for a review, instead of just saying, oh, can you do a review for us? Try and get a little bit more specific. If they came in with heel pain, ask if they can do a review sort of on the problem that they came in with, because that will sort of, especially if you're trying to grow your business in a certain area. So instead of just saying, oh, Jim was really good, or Jim's clinic was really good, if you were a runner that came in with shin splints, just say, I had shin splints. I mean, yeah, I'm a professional runner. I came and saw Jim, and then they can go on with the details from there. and encourage patient feedback and always respond, because Google loves engagement. Do you want to comment on that, Jim?
Yeah, I think people, like you said, people love, actually Google loves when people click in and around those Google business profiles. And it's really, really important that when people are searching the name of your clinic, whether it's the Chicago Foot Clinic or the Spokane Foot and Ankle Clinic, they're going to type that into Google. On the first result they're going to see is not your website, not your Facebook, not your, maybe it'll be a Google ad, but on the right-hand side of that results page on Google, it's going to be your Google Business Profile. And you have to spend, not only do you need to have your Google Business Profile, but it needs to be something that's going to build trust with these specific prospective patients, because they may not make it all the way to your website. They might just see that Google Business Profile and say, that's the right person for me, or it doesn't look like they've done anything there. It looks, there's a picture of a gross foot that's like, instead of what could be branding or the face of the podiatrist or the beautiful clinic you have inside. So you really need to spend time on that Google Business Profile. It's really, really important as far as building that initial trust with folks. And if you're working with a marketing provider or someone that still calls it Google My Business, that means they're behind the times. So it's Google Business Profile, and every clinic needs to have one and make sure that it's up to snuff, because that's where you're going to build trust, or you're going to maybe lose patients on.
Yeah, well, we've done that recently when we've gone to take a holiday. We're going on a trip somewhere. You're thinking, oh, what can we do in that area? And there'll be a list of different things you can do. You'll click on a business, and if I can see some updated photos or some updated reviews on someone that was there last week, and some photos that you can tell just by the day of the photo that it was a very recent photo, that builds a lot of trust, because I'm thinking, oh, I would rather see 5 4-star reviews that were done last week than see 5 5-star reviews that were done 3 years ago. Because I'm thinking, it's the same staff there. It's a complete. Why aren't there more up-to-date reviews right now? And if I don't see that, I start thinking, yeah, okay, is this a little bit dodgy?
And you're going to have some of those people that glance, right? Like they're going to glance and
Yeah,
see, is there, what are the competitors at, right? So if you're in a clinic is an area where somebody has 500 reviews and like 4.8, and everybody else is, 4.9, but 22 reviews, like it's a huge red flag to people. Like, why does that clinic have so many more reviews? Maybe even if
yeah,
it's not exactly the same level as what yours is at.
yeah. So if you're not updating your profile, your Google profile, you're basically invisible, even if you have an amazing clinic. So you might have the best clinic in the world. It might be the Duck's Nuts. But if you're not updating and posting things in your Google business profile, it's just a missed opportunity. So tip number 2 is leverage local networking. So go beyond health events, attend local business breakfasts. You might go to Rotary, running clubs. I have mentioned this before. Yeah, be curious and show interest in others. When you go to these sort of things, ask questions and just offer small bits of advice. And also be prepared that people are going to ask you. I always find this funny. When I go to someone at a networking event and I say, oh, so what do you do? And they and they hesitate, and they don't even know what they do. And I think, well, if you don't know what you do, how am I supposed to know what you do? So be prepared. You might say something like, I help people walk without pain because pain changes everything. Now, if I'd bumped into someone and they said, I help people walk without pain because I know pain changes everything, I'd be going, I'm intrigued. What do you mean by that? Then you can go into it in a little bit more detail. And there's a massive amount of power in consistent community visibility. Do you go to one business event here, you go to a Rotary thing here, you do a talk at this place, you turn up at a local sporting event, people start to recognize and notice you. And that's the whole consistency part.
I think that's huge. It's a huge opportunity, but like you said, you got to get out there. You just can't kind of like hide away and hope the patients show up at your door. You got to leverage that local networking. And I think sometimes it happens too at these local networking events. If you've never been to one before, you're kind of nervous to go, is that the initial feeling is like kind of, talk about yourself or just talk a lot, right? But I think
Yeah.
really helps you and to have if people are just starting to go to these, really what you want to do is show curiosity and show interest in what other people are doing. Come with like, maybe you have 3 to 5 kind of general questions in your mind going into one of these things, like asking them what they do, how they got into it, what has their business been like. If you can find ways of asking people interesting questions that they're happy to answer, it's going to really ingratiate you to them because you didn't go to this business networking thing just to, talk for 20 minutes about how you're the best thing since sliced bread and how you went to residency here and how you're doing these things here. Like, it's normal, I think, when people are nervous just to kind of like talk a lot or not talk at all. But
Yeah.
when you go into one of these events, having in your mind some questions you could ask someone else that they would be really excited to talk about, you're going to get more from that by asking about them. And sure, you want to let them know what you do as well, but by showing interest in others, they're not going to be a help, but kind of reciprocate as well.
Yeah. One other thing I just want to mention about networking too. I know when I first was ever going to a networking event, I was concerned, what do I wear? What do I wear to this networking event, depending what it is? If you go onto Facebook, that networking group will probably have a Facebook group. Have a look at past meetings, past photos, and that will give you an idea of what's the appropriate attire for that particular event. Because sometimes you don't want to overdress and you don't want to underdress. The other thing is have a look through all the photos. Normally you'll find there might be somebody there that you know. You could reach out to them and say, hey, you're going to the next event. I would like to come along. People love taking guests along to these events. But the other part, when you are talking to someone, and I remember doing this once, I met someone, I said, what do you do? They told me, and I said, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. And I shut up. I don't think I got a word in for the next 5 minutes. I then bumped into one of their friends later on, and they said, oh, I think they told me that they met you at this networking. I said, yeah, I did. They said, they reckon you're one of the best people they've met at the event. You're the easiest person to talk to. I never said anything. I couldn't get a word in because I asked them, tell me more. And they just went, oh yeah, that's interesting. And and I showed interest in what they were talking about. And next thing, they thought I was a great conversationalist, but I didn't have to say anything.
Absolutely.
Which I think is funny. So tip number 3, and once again, we've mentioned this on a previous episode, so therefore go back and listen to the couple of hundred that we've got there, but collaborate with allied health professionals. So you build relationships with your physios, your GPs, personal trainers, chiropractors, but visit them with genuine intent, not a sales pitch. That is they know when you ring them up and you're coming in to have a meeting with them, they think you're going to try and be selling something to them or just, oh, you should be sending your patients to me. But just go there with genuine intent that you want to learn a little bit more about what they do as well. It's not just about you. You want to learn about their practice because you have patients and there might be 4 different physios. Not every physio is the same. So learn what is it that they're interested in more. So when you have a patient that comes in, you know where to direct them to, because not every single patient is going to be suited to one particular physiotherapist. And after you see them, well, when you're seeing them, make sure if you've got branded gifts, if you have things that have got your logo and stuff on it, leave something behind. And therefore, you're going to be memorable, but always make sure that you always follow up, I think, after the meetings with them as well. If you've had a meeting, well, if I met Jim was a physio, would be Big Jim, then he'd just be Jim the physio. And we have a place here in Australia called, there's Jim's mowing, Jim's dog washing, Jim's dry, Jim does everything. Anyway, if I had met Jim, he agreed to have a coffee with me, went to his clinic, said, hey, how you doing? Found out a little bit more about him, and then I left. Nothing better than a handwritten thank you note that you just pop in the mail and post them. It could be on a thank you card. Tell you that will stand out because majority of people are too friggin' lazy. They'll send an email, might send a text message, do a handwritten note to some of these professional and non-professional referrers. You will get referrals from it.
Absolutely. That personal touch can make a huge difference for people. Like you said, it's it's kind of a lost art these days. Everyone gets tons of emails, tons of things like that, but very few, written notes these days. These are things that are like gold in a way.
Yeah, I have a drawer in my office here where I put all handwritten notes or messages that I receive from people over the last 20 years. And like, I've run, I might do a marketing event or something like that. And I'll get the odd email from someone saying, I really enjoyed it. I did this, applied that. That was fantastic. And then sometimes I will get a card in the mail that is just, thanks for putting on that event. That was absolutely fantastic. I've had some slipped under the door in my motel room when I've been at conferences, when I've done a talk, and people have just left a message there for me, or they've left something at reception. And I keep them all. I never throw any of them out, because I tell you, not every day would I say, I think you're 100% mentally switched on. You doubt yourself. You question different things. I can go to the drawer, read through those, lifts me every single time.
Yeah.
We can do a whole episode. We may have. We already done one, the power of handwritten notes.
I have to look back through it. We've done so many episodes.
No, I know. Anyway, tip number 4, create micro content. So tip number 4, create micro content from everyday practice, from just the things that you're doing day to day. So every clinic has daily content that would be absolute gold. It could be how you're making orthotics. It could be about shoes, just simple explanations. Keep it educational. Did you know that we do this? It's when people say, I'm not quite sure what to talk about, just look around. What did you do today? Everything that you did, probably every patient you treated, there's something there you could create content around.
Absolutely. It's so easy to create content these days, whether it be a short video or a blog post. There's not really an excuse these days to not really shout out to all the local patients about all the great care you provide.
Yeah, and like you said, shooting short videos is not hard to do. You can put them on Instagram, you can put them on YouTube, tag your location because that helps with local search, but also repurpose and reuse the same posts on other platforms. So if you post something, you might put some information in one particular area, then take that and use it as your Google post for the week. And when we said earlier on about updating photos in your Google post, if you cannot take one photo, at least 1 foot or one condition of all the patients you see all week, you've got problems. You have big problems.
Yep.
Massive problems. Okay, I'm looking at the time, Jim, so I'm going to keep moving along. Tip number 5, stand out with memorable patient touch points. This goes back to handwritten thank you cards. And whether you give patients branded swag as well. I know you could send an email to patients and say, hey, thank you for referring Jim to my clinic. But if you did a handwritten note and said, thank you for referring Jim to my clinic, I think the patient will actually notice that more. But personal follow-up messages, after the first visit. Make your brand, when you're talking with patients, make it human. If you use humor that fits in with how you work with your patients, then do that. It's got to fit how you are, though. Like with my clinic, my patients all knew that I liked superheroes, and I was a big kid. So we would always be having a little bit of fun. But at the same time, if I had a patient that came in who wasn't the most fun person, then I would just tone it down. I wouldn't be. Sometimes it's got to fit the clinic, but it's also got to fit the patient each time. And the power of small details that create stories that patients share. So when you're talking with patients, little things that you share about yourself or a successful treatment that you may have done, patients will share those stories when they're with their friends. They go, oh, did you know my podiatrist did this? Like if you're a podiatrist ever helped out with a representative team or gone to a Commonwealth Games or Olympic Games, use these stories while you're actually talking to your patients.
That's a great point. I think one of the quotes I recently saw was that the old quote was, build what people want, but it's kind of been switched now to build what people want to talk about. So if you can get, provide a great care that people are willing to talk about, that's so much more valuable than just kind of like giving people something.
Yeah, my physio that I go to, he's gone to 4 or 5 Olympic Games, all these different things. And I said to him one day, I saw some jersey, something tucked down the corner. And I went, what's all this stuff? He goes, oh, yeah, I've been to 5 Olympics. And I used to be the physio for the Melbourne Storm, which is their National Rugby League. And I did this. I said, why is this not up on your walls being shared by yeah. And he goes, oh, what do you think people, it's not, I feel like I'm boasting. I go, boast. Because when you put them up there, I said, I will tell people that my physio went to the Olympics 5 times. My physio was the physio for Melbourne Storm for the Brisbane Broncos. So he started doing that and he went, God, surprising that people talk about it all the time. It's just funny. Okay, number 6, be present in the community. So offer free educational talks to gyms, schools, senior groups, but just make sure the talk fits with what you want more of. So if you're not chasing older people in your clinic, then you don't necessarily need to be doing talks to senior groups. Bring energy and entertainment. Don't just give another boring lecture. Whenever I'm invited to speak at a conference, when I get up there on stage, I am bloody entertaining as well. I like to think so. I laugh at my own jokes, so a few other people do as well. But I'm up there to educate and entertain. I want people to walk away feeling good and actually taking away some knowledge. I don't want them to, another death by PowerPoint. You mean see the person get up on stage and start talking and they turn to the slides and they pretty much just start reading what's up there. And you go, oh my God, this is going to be painful. Don't be that person. And if possible, see if you can record snippets of when you are doing talks for social media and maybe for your website. I did a talk in Powell River in British Columbia a few years back for the Chamber of Commerce. And when I did the talk there, I had my wife taking little video shots of me. At the same time, I had my phone in my pocket and a microphone hooked up to myself so I could record the whole talk. I ended up using different snippets in social media in different places. But then I took that whole talk that I did and I turned it into a podcast episode on my older podcast. So try and capture this information while it's happening. You may never use it, but if you do, that's great. The other part is local press often covers community talks. So it's basically free publicity. When I did the one in Powell River, they had a big write-up in the paper. Because I was an international author coming from Australia, I had the mayor. The mayor met me, got a photo with the mayor. It was a lot of fun. I know, Jim's shaking it. For people who are just listening to this, Jim is shaking his head at me.
The international man of mystery, Tyson Franklin.
No. It was fun though. So, and this thing, if people see you giving before asking for anything, they will actually trust you faster. So when they see you out in the community just doing stuff, and you're doing that on a consistent basis and you're not asking for anything in return, it just builds trust.
Absolutely. Like I talked about, like you mentioned, when you're giving out there, people are going to be more receptive to you. If you're just, trying to sell something or just talking about yourself, that's not going to be helpful for them. But if you're providing knowledge and kind of tips and tricks that are going to help them, get better, have a better business, have a better clinic, then but going to be much more, even with patients, right? Providing them a better, level of care and getting the results they want. It's going to lead to good things.
Always. So, and the last tip is just use your stationery as a marketing tool. And so if you give out receipts or you send invoices, use it as a promotional tool. Whatever it is you want more of, make sure it's printed somewhere on your receipts and invoices. Use your letterheads the same way. We used to have our letterhead look like a normal letterhead at the top, but at the bottom, it was all about promoting the orthotic devices in our clinic. No matter where that letter went to, people were going to see that. Every report that you send to a doctor is an opportunity to tell them what you want more of. And I know some people, it's so much easier just to send an email or to fax something. All our reports used to be typed out on our letterhead so they could see what we wanted more of. we would include other marketing information in there, and we would, because cancer is not a massive area, we would hand deliver every report to the professional referrers, because that was an opportunity to have a chat at the same time to see what they're up to, and was an opportunity to come and talk to them. Or even just having printed envelopes. So when they see your envelope turn up, they know it's from you. So if everybody is using a white envelope, if your corporate color is red, get red envelopes. Get yellow envelopes, get green envelopes, or just get them printed with your logo and everything on there so it really stands out. And if you're thinking, oh, but we hardly ever send out reports, send the reports. Spend the money, you tightwads, put a stamp on there and get them posted to them, because nobody's doing that. Everybody is looking for the shortcut, the fastest way of actually doing things. If you want to stand out, you've got to be a little bit different.
You're going to be different, and by being different and kind of getting kind of a part of you, that letter with the logo and the coloring, it's another touch point. It's another opportunity for them to know who you are and to build faith in, the type of care you provide, and for them to be willing to send you patients. So you don't get many of those opportunities to make that connection. So why not take it by, creating letterhead envelopes that have your brand? Because what's showing happen with AI and even in Google search is that people are much more trusting of brands these days and kind of marks and things they know about than they are just some kind of random result that's on the internet. So the more you can build that trust in your clinic and your brand and who you are, the better you're going to be in the long run.
So, well, it's like the Podiatry Marketing podcast. We have that green that we use in the logo, and even your room looks a little bit green there. And I'm sure that's done deliberately.
Maybe.
Now, if every podiatrist here all of a sudden received a green envelope in the mail, and they knew the color green that we use for podiatry marketing, straight away, first thing that's going to pop in the head would be, this is a letter from Big Jim and Tyson. They would think that straight away. So keep an eye out for a green envelope in the mail. Just joking. So anyway, I can just start with one idea from today's episode and commit to doing it this week. Marketing only works when you do. And this is what I'll finish on. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with your other podiatrists who could probably need a few more bums on seats as well. And also share it with your podiatry friends, unless you don't have any. Then just use these ideas yourself. And if you like to take your marketing sort of up a notch, you can join me at my next Podiatry Marketing Masterclass. Go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, click on events. And if you need help, you can reach out to Big Jim Mac as well. What's the best web address for you, Jim?
Yeah, they can either email me, jim@podiatrygrowth.com, or they can head over to podiatry.marketing and just contact us on the web form we have there on our podcast website.
So that's our consistent of plugging ourselves at the end of each episode, as we should be doing. So that's all I wanted to say on that. I hope everybody gets something out of that. Like I said, if you take just one idea, apply it this week, it'll make a difference.
Nope, sounds great, Tyson.
Okay, Big Jim, I will talk to you next week.
All right, talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye now.